Hello there everybody, it is Reggie Time here with the first in what is going to be hopefully a long series charting my mini challenge that I've set for myself, which is going to hopefully demonstrate and encourage to you guys how it's possible to turn a small bankroll into a working bankroll. I plan to do this at 10NL on 888 and hopefully make at least 2, possibly 3 videos per week. Here's the reasons for doing this. And just copying we're going to read from the post that I made on my Facebook group this week. Today. If you want to join the group, by the way, a bit of a spam here. Just search Reggie Time Micro6 Poker Group on Facebook and get yourself added. November hasn't gone all to plan so far. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can read it yourself if you want to by pausing the video. Pretty much, I work in the care industry. Recently, I have branched out into doing more self-employed work. It's involved a lot of meetings with various care agencies and council officials, social workers, all those kinds of things. It's taken up a lot of my time. It's very worthwhile. Very pleased with it. What it has done is it's kind of made me take my eye off the ball with poker a little bit, but at the same time it's created me quite a decent extra income stream, so therefore poker doesn't need to be as much of an income stream. So that's kind of how my overall poker work-life balance works. When I'm not getting much work done, then I pick up the slack with poker. If I've got lots of work that's possibly too much for me to do and play poker full-time or like decently part-time, then that's fine, because obviously getting income that way, it all kind of like fits together quite nicely. I haven't been focusing on poker really hard since September, maybe even earlier than that. I've let the number of people that I'm mentoring drop, because for the last 2 months I haven't had as much time to give to it, and it's not fair to take money from people and make commitments to people and then overstretch myself. So I've been keeping that manageable. Now I'm in a position to hopefully start recruiting more people towards the end of the year, and hopefully this video series is going to be a good accompaniment to helping those guys go from, because people who come to me historically have small bankrolls, go from having a small bankroll, hopefully they can come along and take inspiration from this and make a real working bankroll out of what is a small bankroll. So yeah, you can read that for yourself. I'm not going to go through it all. That's the plan with it. I've already started this challenge. The challenge is to take a bankroll of, started at $150, because that's pretty much all I had on 888. Most of my bankrolls on Sky, a little bit on Unibet, a little bit on PokerStars, most of it in PayPal, because I don't believe in keeping lots of money on sites. The plan is to play this until that reaches $1,000, just playing exclusively 10NL. So trying to win 100 buy-ins at 10NL. I'm probably going to be 3-tabling 10NL snap for most of the time. I can probably get maybe, who knows what, 750 hands per hour doing that. I would hope or expect to have a win rate of at least 4 to 5 big blinds 100. So, you know, I'm hoping to be able to do it in or before spring next year, sometime end of January, sometime in February. It'd be nice to do it. I'm not going to be just playing these games. I'm going to be playing on Sky when the games are good. I'm not going to be recording any of my sessions on Sky. I don't think there's a reason to do that. But I am going to be trying to play at least 2 hours a day with this challenge, so we can keep it on track and keep it going. Otherwise, who knows? I've got a history of these things dying off. I mean, I really don't want this one to die off. I really would like to complete this challenge. So yeah, without further ado, we'll load up some tables on 888 and we'll get started. We'll close that off. Close that off, and let's join some games. And yes, of course, they're coming up on the wrong fucking screen. How wonderfully standard that was. As soon as we can, we'll get a replay screen up to fill this blank in the bottom corner. So that's going to go down there like so. So we've got nice colours coming out. So yeah, off we go. Don't know how long these videos are going to last for. I'm going to try and capture as much of my play as I can try and put at least 3 hours content out a week, if not more. Because I really want to chart it. I want to chart my feelings and how it's going. I want to capture my thoughts, and for when I get impatient and I think, you know what, I want to start playing a little bit higher, etc. Because it is all the thoughts that lots of guys have who are trying to build a roll. I've been donked into, we have a flush draw on a paired board. I'm going to raise it up. We don't particularly want to get it in here, but you can definitely call with worse draws. We have tons of equity against one pair. We have a little bit of equity against his trips. He calls, I don't think it's an 8 very often. I think he probably donked 3 bets an 8, but I don't think he's folding a jack. So I think we're just going to check back and try and hit an ace or a red one, which we failed to do. And he bets 3, which is kind of weird. I mean, I just think he has just some kind of really shitty pair right now, like pocket 2s or pocket 3s or something. It's whether to bluff. I mean, if we bluff, we're not going to try and make him fold the jack. I'm trying to make him fold something like any kind of pocket pair under an 8, like deuces through 7s. And I think we'll try and do that. And call the 3-bet with the ace king, and we do get a fold. Probably made him fold the best hand, I would guess. Led into with the ace king on a super dry board. Absolutely no reason to raise. He checks the turn. And he chips as this fellow got. He's got enough call, see a flop. Completely brick. That'll be done with that. How much do we need to bet? He to bet a shove the river. Bet 17. Take us down to 67. Maybe that's 68 in the pot. I think it was around a pot size bet, so we'll go with that. He instantly check folds. Not going to play. Until, what about you? I know that guy. I know that guy. I think that's somebody from my chat group. Sure it is. Sure it's Colin. Could be wrong, but I think it's Colin. And we're going to 3-bet the 2 jacks. That is a question. I think we are. We can definitely get called by worse at 10 and L. Decent amount of the time. It sucks when we get 4-bet, but we'll cross that bridge if and when we come to it. And we do get 4-bet, and it's a fucking huge 4-bet. So we'll just fold the jacks. I don't expect him to be doing that with worse hands very often at all. We'll 3-bet the 9s just to try and get heads up. And the player who we think's Colin snap folds. Ace queen on this board. We're going to start by checking. We can certainly call the bet here. You can definitely stab with worse. You can stab with some better hands too that we have reasonable equity against. Hit the queen. It seems pretty good. River a full house. He's going to check back a ton on this river, so definitely going to lead at the pot. What would I bet if I had a misdraw here? Probably bet quite big, I think. So we're going to try and rep those spades. And he insta folds. Check called on table 1 when we have the overpair. Definitely going to be betting this turn. Not going to like it if we get raised. Probably fold. Jack Queen, dry board, 2 opponents. Could see bet against 1 player, but I'm not going to see bet against 2 players. It's pretty much a standard of mine. And I don't like standards, but it's pretty much a standard of mine if I do have them. One of them is not bluffing in multi-way pots when I have quite poor equity. Or when I feel I have poor equity against people's ranges for continuing. So I guess if we're doing like a 10 and L build a bankroll video, the first thing I should do is discuss why I think lots of people struggle. And impatience is a lot to do with it. 10NL it's kind of a weird limit. It's you're getting close to a point where you can start making, you know, a reasonable amount of pocket money from playing poker, but it's kind of like it's where nobody wants to stop. So they're always like desperate to get to the next limit, the 25NL or the 30NL as it is on Snap. I'm gonna keep barreling with the king queen. Just gonna keep betting until we get raised, and then consider our options. What do I think Pucci has here? Probably mostly just has flush draws and weak pairs. And he pairs it off for a small bet. Let's see what he had. He just had the flush draw, albeit the ace high one. So I think people just get a little bit impatient, and they'll maybe build a roll up. They'll get to $250, $300, or maybe even $400, and they'll be like, you know what, I just want to take a shot at 25NL. You know, just take a 5 buy-in shot, and taking shots off short bankrolls, it's fine if you run well and you spin it up, then great, more power to you. But most guys don't. They don't play. It's hard to play your best when you're taking a shot at a higher limit. You're not experienced at, knowing that you're not properly rolled for. It's too much of a difficult trick to pull off. It really is. Bankroll is hugely important, and it's still, I think it's one of the biggest mistakes most micro-stakes players make. I was only talking to a guy about this earlier in my Skype group. He sent me a message and he was taking a short break from the game because he'd been running badly and what have you. But it turned out when we talked to him more and we got to the bottom of it, he hadn't been managing his bankroll at all well. So we'd been winning, he'd been withdrawing, and then when he lost, he was straight away, he was in peril again. And you've just got to, when you're at the lowest limit, you've just got to get it in your head that, right, I'm not going to be making any money from poker for the next however long. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it takes to you to build a roll. If you're playing 10NL and you're hoping to withdraw some now and again for spends, then we'll get back to that in just a moment, because we've got an interesting spot with the ace 10. We have a good shot royal flush draw we've been led into. It's a big bet, so we're just going to call. We make the nuts on the turn. Our opponent leads into us again. There's no reason to raise here, I don't think, is there? In fact, I actually think there might be, because we want a bit of shove rivers, don't we? And it looks like he's got a big hand when he bets twice. When he bets on that board, when the 8 comes, which is a pretty scary card for him. Fair play to him if he's made like a decent bet fold there with an overpair. Hats off to him for that. 2 kings on this terrible board in a multi-way pot. We're going to start by betting, but I'm already quite nervous about what could happen here. There's every chance we just don't have the best hand. And let the ace queen go on that board in a 3-bet pot. Let the king queen suited go to the min open and the 3-bet. And we have to bet this turn again here. I'm absolutely falling to a raise though. We have to bet to charge draws, get value from Jack X, etc. But given he's called a c-bet in a multi-way pot, I think it's likely he's going to have quite a strong range for doing so, like strong draws or made hands. I'm not too scared of the 9. In fact, the 9's a good card for us because it like reduces the chance of him having a set flop to set. So now, do we want to bet or do we want to check? Call. I think we're going to check and call. We lose value from Jack X here, but I think he's got just a ton of draws that have all missed. And we get more value from them, and we limit the damage to times that we somehow outbeat. And he did, wow. My take on his flop calling range there was miles out. But I mean, we just can't. It's impossible to put somebody on the on a stone float there, which is all that is. It's an absolute stone float in a multi-way pot on that board texture, whatever. You know what? Stuff like that's just, what can you do? So yeah, we were talking to the guy from the group. We were talking about my conversation with the guy with the group, and you can't do it when you're building a bankroll in the micro stakes. You can have no thoughts of withdrawing whatsoever, because it's just not possible to build a bankroll from 10 and L for higher stakes and to withdraw as well. It just makes the process. It's a long process anyway. I'm expecting this process to take me at least 200 hours, if not more. And that's with having absolutely no plans to withdraw. So, I mean, if you're going to be withdrawing too, I mean, who really wants to spend like 400-500 hours trying to grind their way out of 10 and 9? You just got to accept I'm going to be playing, and I'm not going to be seeing an awful lot. I'm not going to be getting a good return on my investment in the short term. But I don't know about this king queen. I guess we have to call again. Not super happy with it, and now I'm really unhappy with it. Now we're just going to fold because there's no rivers that I want to see. Yeah, you just got to like accept that I am not going to be making any extra money from poker for the foreseeable future. And then when you reach your 25 and L or whatever, then maybe you can treat yourself now and again to the odd like $100 withdrawal and treat yourself to something, so you get a little bit of reward for the work you've been putting in. And doing it right at the start, you're just giving yourself too much of a handicap to overcome. And I think it's a big problem lots of players have. It's quite a lot of players, and it shouldn't be the case, but quite a lot of players will have, I don't know, $400 in their poker account and maybe be in the overdraft in their real account, or they'll have more. Their bankroll will be more than their net worth. And when you're in that situation, it puts a decent, well, your bankroll can't more than your net worth, of course, because your net worth incorporates your bankroll. But the bankroll is like larger than their bank account, and that's not a situation you want to be in. It's not a situation you want to generate for yourself, because you have to be absolutely fearless at the tables. Like the hand earlier on with the whatever it was we had where we had the miss flush draw, and the guy bet 3 into whatever it was on the river. If you're challenged in terms of like the size of your bankroll, it's hard to pull the trigger in situations where you need to pull the trigger, either by making a big call or by making a big bluff or by making a thin value bet. It's hard to pull the trigger in all the difficult spots, and what you'll end up doing is you'll end up trying to take low variance routes that ultimately just end up increasing your variance, because low variance routes usually aren't the highest EV routes to take. And if we're not taking like the highest EV route in as many situations as possible, obviously our win rate is going to suffer. If our win rate suffers, we increase our long-term variance, which therefore fucks our mental game up, it just fucks everything up. And it all comes down to, well, not all of it, but a lot of it comes down to bankroll management in the first place. And this is a guy from earlier who had the random floor. Now he's putting some weird donk in. Nothing much we can do about it with the ace deuce. But we'll be keeping our eyes open for that fellow. So yeah, I think really carefully about bankroll management, and think really carefully about, can I play poker? Can I just forget about making money from poker for the foreseeable until I reach a particular limit? And can I focus 100% on building a bankroll and nothing else? And once you get your head around that and you start at the correct limit for your current bankroll, you just have a far higher chance of success, because you're gonna find it way easier to produce your A game on a consistent basis. I think we get called too often by just ace highs and things on this board, gut shots and what have you, so we're not going to see bet the king queen out of position. In position, I probably would have stabbed if it was checked to me. I don't like playing out of position much. It's not a lot of fun. I'm tempted to squeeze the ace jack here. If it had been cut off button, etc., it would have been an easy squeeze, but someone's potted it under the gun, so we'll probably just let it go for now. That's an ace on table 2. Just control the pot a little bit by checking back, maybe induce some bluffs, maybe induce some stabs from worse hands for value. I think we just have an easy call on the river. There's absolutely no value in raising. Reasonable chance we don't win. And indeed we don't. Hopefully we're going to win on table 1 though. We're going to hope Tango's got an ace, and we're going to tag the ace-x part of his range. Make a pretty large turn barrel. Sadly he folds, so I guess we got it wrong that he had an ace. Clearly can't fold to that 3-bet on table 3 when somebody like clicks it back. What we can do though is instantly tag the player as a fish, because unless that was a misclick, that is a horrendous sizing, of course. As you would expect, well, sorry, not as you would expect, as I would expect, these games feel pretty soft. Now, that's not to say that anyone playing these games should find them soft, but for somebody like myself who plays much higher, who has played much higher, and is very, very, I mean, obviously massively overawed for these games, it almost does feel super soft to me. Now, that's not to say the games are super soft, although I believe they are quite soft. So don't feel bad if you're playing in this exact pool and you don't think it's easy. Don't feel bad. Don't think, oh wow, I must really suck. It's as much down to confidence as anything else that they feel really soft. I'm sure if I were on a 10-bind downswing, which I'm certain I will do at some point during this challenge, it will start to feel less soft to me. And hopefully, I mean, I don't particularly want a downswing, but when we have one, it'll hopefully allow me to discuss a lot of the feelings that you guys go through in terms of like the disappointment of feeling like the progress you've made has been lost and all those types of things. Hopefully, we'll go through the whole spectrum of emotions and results. Hopefully, we'll have some really sick heaters. Hopefully we won't have too many sick downswings or long break-even stretches, but at the same time having them would certainly help in terms of stimulating discussion. And if any of you guys are watching this and you're playing in these games, or you're playing in similar stakes games and are interested in taking part in a similar challenge, please do join the Facebook group and post your thoughts, post your feelings. Let us know that, you know, what's going through your mind when you're trying to grind a roll up. Absolutely no equity here with the 9-10, but with like backdoor flush draw 2 overs. Seem a great deal of point in checking back and just giving up in this spot doesn't seem great. Hit the 10 on the turn. Check back just to weaken our range. A little bit of pot control. We haven't really got a 3-street hand. Ace of Spades is a fucking minging card on the river. I was going to plan on going for some value on the river from all pocket pairs, basically. I think that value's just disappeared out of the window. So I'm just going to check back now. Yeah, we could have got value. If like an 8 rolls off on the river or something, we can get value from 6s really quite easily. So I think our line there is reasonable. We don't have 3 streets against 6s there too often. Just unfortunately, we got like a really bad river card. Good shot against the fish. In a small pot, so we'll peel and see one more card. I think we have to call this turn card with the jacks and probably fold river if he bets again. Hopefully the diamond will slow him down somewhat. If he bets, it's just going to be an easy fold. I mean, we could lose here. We could be behind it to king, queen, king, jack, ace, king, pocket queens. There's lots of ways we could be behind. But we're going to check back because we have a decent amount of showdown value. And he just had a random ace 3. Calling 3 bets at a position with ace 3 suited is not something you will ever find me recommending. But you won't find me recommending calling 3 bets at a position in general. It's you end up making life very, very difficult for yourself in if you keep calling 3 bets at a position. I think it's a big leak that way too many players have. Defend way too many hands when they're 3 bet and they're going to have to play the rest of the hand out of position. It's a huge, huge leak. You kind of don't want to fall for 5 or 6 big blinds pre-flop or whatever it is. They want to see flops, but then they get in loads of like really marginal spots that are made much harder to play because of the fact you don't have position. It's almost certainly one of the biggest leaks of most players that struggle to get the job done. Or most intermediate regulars, shall I say. I mean, I imagine flat out losing players have much worse leaks than that, but players that are doing okay but not doing brilliant, I would say their play in 3 bet pots, starting from pre-flop, is probably going to be a lot to blame for that. So we have the 2 kings against serfs up. We seen him make that absurd float earlier, so we're going to 3 bet him to 10. We are slightly deeper. Hope to play a big pot with him. He might not be a fish, he might just have made some random float, but he's got the fish tag for the time being. That, of course, is subject to change over the course of the night, of the month, of the challenge, if he ends up being a regular. Very like Queen Jack here. Be a much easier value bet, but we're going to make it anyway. And he just instantly folds, so I guess he must just have had some kind of draw on the turn. King Jack offsuit. Facing a small 3 bet. I don't want to call here. So I think we'll use like the king blocker and what have you and make a bluff. Calling with king jack offsuit. Again, it's just, for me, it's not going to lead to lots of good situations. Wow. Just bonk. There we go. Get your jamming on the turn, sir. Check back with our king jack. I think we'll make a small bet if he checks to us again on the turn. Which he does. I think at this point he's probably going to have hands like ace jack. I mean, ace jack, ace queen, other stuff like that. Call 1-2 with our 10 jack. I'm not pleased that he's absolutely bombed into 2 players on that particular board, but I guess we have to see a turn card when we make a pair. He It makes a much smaller bet in relation to the pot on the turn. No reason to raise. Turn trips. 15 in the pot, 44 in his stack. If we bet 10 here, it's going to put 35 in the pot, and it's going to leave us with around a pot size bet, so that's what we'll do. We're going to try and rep all of my straws on the river here. Hope to get heroed by Queen X. We're in a pretty shitty spot if he shoves on us. I think it's super unlikely someone goes bet, check, shove with anything other than like a monster hand though. We're kind of obliged to take a stab with it on the King Jack 5 board. Sorry, Queen Jack 5 board, only with the pre-flop raise and we check 2. And 3-bet to a pretty big size. We're out of position with Ace Queen. Again, this is a situation where I'm going to 4-bet or I'm going to fold most of the time. Calling isn't really in my playbook too often here. He's from the Ukraine. He's going to fold. He's made like a pretty large bet. And it's a tight fold. But I'd be stunned if there's an awful lot of 3-bet bluffing going in at 10 and a snap. I'd be absolutely flabbergasted. I would imagine when we get a decent sample size in hopefully a few weeks' time and we go checking our opponent's tabs, I'd be absolutely amazed if the average 3-bet is above 4%. Well, not amazed. Amazed would be strong. I'd be surprised. So my overall strategy is going to be respect 3-bets. Make an awful lot of folds to them. Get dunked into on the paired board with the overpair. Super easy call. If at any point he slows down and starts betting, I will raise him for sure. I think his most likely hand here is just Jack X or Pocket 8 or something like that. He bombs the river. I mean, if he's just got me beat here, I mean, he could have improved to Jack 10. I think he's given him the best hand. If he's got a deuce, then I guess that's great news for him. 8-9 seems super unlikely. I guess he could have pocket 7s or pocket 10s and play them this way. Although I doubt pocket 10s bets a turn. Yeah, pocket 7s, whatever. Please don't think because we let him get there by just calling the flop that raising the flop would have been good there. It might have been good because he might well have called with his pocket 7s. But don't get result orientated in spots like that. You know, we made a reasonable slow play against someone's range on the flop, which we were going to have in jail. And the fact that they just hit the miracle card on the turn is neither here nor there, really. I mean, paying off pot-sized bets on the river isn't the way to make a lot of money at the micro stakes. It's not a way to make a lot of money at any stake, I would imagine. But I think in that situation, our hand is like significantly under-repped. He can definitely be value betting worse. He might just engage jacks like the nuts there or something. And yeah, we kind of had to pay it off. Check calling with the ace queen on the deuce 4-3. Hopefully we run good by hitting the queen on the turn. Looks like we just sucked out on the turn when he checks back. I'm going to value bet here around half pot. Hope to get called by pretty much any pocket pair. And he did have any pocket pair, that any pocket pair being 2 jacks. Had I known he was that strong, I would have bet bigger. I was kind of targeting all the middle pairs rather than some of the bigger pairs. Ace 2 suited. We will maybe think about calling this if another gun had a larger stack. Deuces could be the best hand here. We might just check down the winner with this tiny pot. And we don't. I think he could maybe think about value betting that river. I mean, that would certainly have called had he just like made a 2 big blind bet or whatever. Knowing that he probably doesn't have the ace. This sub appears to be playing more than one table, doesn't appear to be reloading. Yeah, it's peculiar. And it seems to be quite a swathe of multi-tabling semi-fish at this limit from what I've seen so far. Yeah, I haven't played too many hands as part of this challenge, but, you know, lifetime I've probably got a good, you know, good few thousand hands at this limit. And there's people who play more than one table who aren't really very good. So you can't just use that, oh, he's multi-tabling, he must be a regular thing anymore. Because there's tons of weak players that can certainly manage 2 tables of speed poker. We haven't really had many hands to 3-bet with yet, I say, as we just get 2 3-betting hands in a row. We are 150 blinds deep with surfs up here. I'm just going to call. Don't particularly want to be getting 150 blinds in pre at 10-0 with just ace king, albeit against somebody who we think might be pretty bad. Turn open ender on table 3, so we'll hit that double barrel button and we make our straight on the river. I guess we have a pretty easy bet fold. I guess we check calling on table 2. Hoping for that miracle 10 of spades on the turn. Nope, 6 of diamonds. What do we get called by over here? Jack Queen. Quite unlucky for Mega Sword that we hit runner, but you know, we allowed ourselves to get lucky by staying aggressive rather than going into like super passive mode. Wow, how did he check that back on the river? Goodness me. Snap checks back trips. Not really sure what he was doing or not doing there. No surprise that he turned it with a strong hand or having 3-bet pre-flop. I think we're going to see that nearly all the time at 10-0. I think light 3-betting isn't going to be happening. I think it's going to be narrow, depolarized ranges for 3-bets most of the time, which is why I'm not going to be looking to play too many 3-bet pots without the initiative. Multi-way pot, super dry board. The ace and the back doors, and we can credit with reps. So this is one of the situations where I am going to move away from my not c-betting your multi-way pots. Sadly, it hasn't worked out. I think it's a reasonable spot to go for a c-bet bluff. They've been checked to by one player. And we did have like the ace and backdoor diamonds to bail us out the times we did get called. Sadly, we've been called and then led into, which kind of takes our play away from us. Again, on table 3, we're going to keep betting until we get raised, and then we're going to make a decision. That decision is usually going to be fold. And we just have one pair. Pretty standard hand up there on table 2. Would have been interesting how we got raised on the turn. Again, it's a shitty spot. I mean, just you'll hear me saying an awful lot of the time. But just betting and waiting until you get raised and folding is usually a pretty solid line to take. Yeah, does it suck to get that like fold an overpair on the turn in a 3-bet pot? But yeah, it does. But I mean, really, how many players are going to be like raising a worse hand there? It just seems so unlikely to me. Am I going to be getting exploited occasionally? Probably. But I think most of the time I'm going to be the one doing the exploiting by being able to make such strong folds. I'm going to have to pay this river of prayer bets. I think you can, we can have the best hand here. We could beat ace king, ace jack. We'd lose to pocket tens, pocket jacks, that type of thing. But I don't think there's any value in betting. We do indeed beat the ace king. And again, taking bet fold lines is really quite easy when you're super confident and really well rolled, because it doesn't matter to you that you just put 40 or 30 blinds in and you're having to fold. It matters much more if you've got to put 30 blinds in and you're playing off a 20 buy-in bankroll or 15 buy-in bankroll. It really hurts to bet 30 and 40 blinds in a hand and then have to find a fold. When you're playing off a 50 buy-in roll, 100 buy-in roll, all these plays are so much easier, and it just really, it boosts your confidence to know that you're not just some fucking zombie station that always calls off when you're fucked. And the confidence that comes with that, and seeing your bankroll growing despite you making some really difficult laydowns, is it's quite liberating, invigorating, whatever you want to call it. It's a nice skill to have, nice skill to learn. Look at me completing challenges like a boss. We ignore the fact that this guy's made a bonkers 3-bet size. We're just going to 4-bet the kings. And against somebody who makes a min 3-bet and then snap calls, this isn't the best of boards typically, but we're not going to be backing off this pot. We're going to be like betting, and this is a pot where I'm not going to be folding against someone like this. I think it doesn't have an 8 in this 3-bet range too often. It's a gross spot because it's a shit board. But I mean, we get paid from pocket queens here, from jack X, jack king, jack queen, all those types of things. I guess we just have to bomb and call it off and whatever. If we somehow got the 8, or If it's flopped in Miracle, then good for him. I probably should just have shoved, actually. Look at what I've left myself with. I wasn't really concentrating there. But there it's worked out. So when's a scare card and not a scare card? And that's kind of that board. It fucks us up in terms of getting value, but in terms of his range for playing the way he has. I mean, yeah, can he have an 8? Yeah, of course he can somehow, especially if he's a bad player. But I mean, what 8x hands mean 3-bet, then call a 4-bet. Probably just pocket 8s exactly, I would guess, unless he's terrible. And has like ace-8 and stuff like that. But whatever, if he's just got one of those hands, then he's just going to have to win. And again, that's the kind of thing that having a bankroll gives you the courage to do. It just gives you huge courage in your reads. A very common theme running through this entire series is going to be about bankroll management, because it's effectively what the whole series is about, really. It's one long course in bankroll management. Three-betting the jacks here, hoping to just get called and not to get 4-bet. Obviously, it's a 3-bet for clean value. We're going to set mine with the 5s. We're out of position, but another player has come along, so it's fine to set mine here. Do not make a set, which is unfortunate. A little bit torn with these two jacks here. On one hand, I'm kind of thinking we're a little bit under rep because we check back the flop. On the other hand, I'm like, did he really bet? I mean, he bet some bluffs, of course. But I mean, his value range, we're behind to basically all of his value range here, but only beating his bluffs. And I don't think he's going to be bluffing too often, so we'll just fold. Big part of building a bankroll is not losing too many big pots with marginal hands. Again, not just for the money terms of like how it affects our bankroll, but how it affects our confidence, how it affects our motivation to grind, all those types of things. You won't find me completing the small blind too often. I usually do it when I know that I'm going to flop 2 pairs plus. Pretty scary board if we get raised. Not necessarily the flop, but there's like lots of bad turn cards. If we just call, if we jam, we're usually going to be in some kind of race against a massive combo draw, or sometimes up against a better hand. So it's like one of those spots that, yeah, what a great spot, we've got 2 pairs. But you don't exactly want the pot to just fucking blow up in that situation. That's a pretty damn strong draw. It's just a classic situation here where we've got a monster draw with tons of equity, but 0 showdown value, so we're just going to raise. Just going to bluff and not be too worried about getting all the money in. If we have to, we're happy to do so. Squeeze our ace queen here, but then we have to call it off if we get shoved on, because of the stack size of the 2 guys involved. So I'm prepared to do that. I'm ready to do that right now. 2 overs, backdoor nut flush draw. I'm not going to get too many folds from pairs here, but he doesn't have to have pairs. He can just have like worse things that sometimes call. It's not very likely, but jam here when he's got a pair. Unlucky for us, we suck out sometimes, and sometimes we get it in, like we say, against a much worse hand. Sadly for us, he gets there, which is rather frustrating. But what can we do? Again, we've played the hand, in my opinion, pretty damn well. And it sucks that he just like flops off. I mean, calls a 3-bet with a pretty atrocious hand. given the situation, and then is fortunate enough to flop a hand to flop a draw. Whatever. It sucks, but there's really much nothing we can do about it. Queen 9 off won't be an open. Queen 9 suited will be an open. Call with the 9s. Not just set mine in here, but it's only going to be able to continue on some flops. That's a pretty big bet on what is effectively quite a dry board. Tempted to just bluff here and raise. You know, he could be doing this with pocket jacks, pocket 10s. Some random ace highs. Obviously, with a head up, but you know, Wiggles is turning up a lot of tables. He's got chips at a lot of tables. Could be irregular. He might be capable of making some folds from time to time. He calls, and we get interesting turn card. Do we continue now? Try to rep a flush. Can't really rep any full houses because I mean, we wouldn't typically have kings in this spot. We wouldn't have 6s. Not many 4x we can have, like 4-6 or something. It's kind of a hard time to continue repping something here. So I think once the bluff on the flop doesn't work, I'm just going to give up. I expect to see myself lose to king, queen here, ace, king, pocket aces, that type of thing. Sometimes you just have to know when to give up. And that was one of them times. It's kind of respect the flops, make you fold anything that isn't a king. Once he calls, then you know the plan was make you fold something, but wasn't to like continue barreling off in a hopeless situation. Gonna hope no fear has like a 2-pair hand here and just hope to get 3 streets from him. He jams. I mean, we lose to exactly king, queen, which he of course can have. We cannot fold the whatever it is second nuts here though. If he's got king, queen, he's just got king, queen. And we get to collect, which is nice. We see we enter 2 players get called. Not particularly scared of the king, but it is somewhat of an action killer against his mate, against mate hands. I guess we can still bet for some value from draws. If we bet here and Jad, what's his face, shoves, we have to call. If the other guy raises, then we probably just fold. That's pretty much my thought process going into this turn. I would take 2 folds right now. So part 1 of the bad scenario comes in, which is the fish folding, and then part 2 of the bad scenario comes in with the other guy raising. It's just such an easy fold now. giving up on table 3. Wow, that's a big bet. The plan was check call on table 2. I mean, I guess we still have to. And we're just folding on table 3, calling on table 2. We're just checking in on this one, and we get to win, which is nice. He instantly checks back. He had absolutely nothing. Right, Wiggles here. Why are you really repping Wiggles? Tempted to bluff here. He bet the flop and then the king comes, he bets again. Super unlikely he has 3 queens. Super unlikely he has 3 5s because we block it. So it's 3 2s or king queen. Otherwise he has to fold everything else, doesn't he? I guess. We've taken a weird line here. We've got check call flop, check raise turn. He does call. Second time we tried to bluff Wiggles, second time he's made life difficult for us, so we're probably going to take a bit more care and attention against Wiggles next time, because our image of him is going to be pretty shitty. So next time we make any moves against him, we're going to have it, I think. His 3 bet's just too small, we have to call it, even though we talked about earlier about not wanting to go 3 bets out of position. And close to wanting to call here against Wiggles. He could have like 10 jack. Some good shots. He just doesn't have 2s anymore. He doesn't have 5s anymore. King queen is like literally. Or maybe ace king that he's like just stabbed on the flop with. What do I think he has? Really want to call here. He does have the king queen. That's a little bit unfortunate. But he just reps such a narrow range. Then when people rep narrow ranges, you know, I like to bluff catch some of the time, at least some of the time. Like the deuce pair, he does having a 5. It kind of ruled out all the sets he could have. He doesn't have 2 queens very often. King queen's like the only hand I think he can do that with. But we do have to be very aware now that that Wiggles is probably going to think we're a complete spew monkey. And that's going to look really horrible. I'm fully aware of how horrible that's going to look. But again, well, my monitor's going to change itself. How the fuck do I get this off? Get off monitor, get on again. Why on earth is it doing that to me? I do not know. Fold the king jack, fold that. Yeah, that hand, I mean, from the turn check raised on, is going to look spewy as fuck. I think the turn check raise works a decent amount of the time against someone who's going to have some random bluffs in the range and what have you, or just not random bluffs, just some bluffs. So turn check raise is going to work pretty damn well. And then when the river comes down, like, what's he really value betting? You know, I guess he can like maybe have like ace jack, jack 10, things like that in his range. One thing I don't think he's doing is like betting just one pair. So whatever. Didn't work out. It's a little bit disappointing, but it's not the end of the world. What is it with these really small 3 bets? I do not want to be calling this many 3 bets, but when people are making it like less than 8 blinds when they're out of position, we just have to stick around. They make it impossible for us to fold. Well, this is kind of a lot of the problems you get yourself into when all of a sudden we didn't want to flop a 10, we wanted to flop flush and straights and flush draws and straight draws. Now all of a sudden we're in dicey territory. He instantly checks. Just so likely we got the best hand now. I think he's going to check fold or check raise the turn most of the time. He's not got much of a check calling range, particularly with hands that beat us. Particularly with hands that we're beat by. That we're beating. So I'm just going to check back and risk an ace or something coming off. 4-bet the ace king, get it in. I'm just going to check back with the 10-9 again. I think it's super hard to get called by worst. He does just have the ace king. Wow, he just peels, which I made a bet size that I didn't want him to peel. I wanted to put him in a jam or fold spot. We've now got a gut shot, 2 overs and a backdoor flush draw. I just have to bet and call it off here, I think. Not much else we can do. If he's got like a queen or something, then we get to suck out at least some of the time. He does have the queen ace, which is mighty unfortunate, but we do get there, so whatever. Looks like we've made a massive suck out there. We're into 4-bet pot. We have 2 overs, a gut shot, and a backdoor flush draw. I think doing anything, I mean, maybe we can check jam, I guess. Maybe. But either way, we're not exactly in a situation where we've got like a stack to pot ratio of 1.5, 2 overs, gut shot, backdoor flush draw. It's not a situation where I'm prepared to just give up. He's got to go with it. He's not always going to have ace queen there. He's sometimes going to have stuff that just folds, or stuff that is just a draw and we get it in good against, like flush draws or something, or some straight draws and things. It's not always going to be getting it in bad there. We're going to be in bad quite a lot, but we're going to get a bunch of folds too. You've got to look at the overall EV of the play, not just how he did against the hand he had in that exact situation. And you've got to get in there, gamble, get your hands dirty a little bit. You can't be waiting for perfect situations. You end up just playing some really moderate, shitty, confidence sapping poker. If you're always waiting for like really good situations, or if that's all you're waiting for, sorry, you're gonna find it hard to get the job done, because these situations just don't come up often enough. These perfect situations. This is a situation where I would definitely see bet into one player with 2 overs, backdoor everything, but against 3 players, sorry, just so little chance we're going to get any fold equity on our bet. Take a stab with the jack queen on the ace XXX monotone. I like to keep the pressure on with c-betting with a pretty damn high frequency. Yeah, guys are ready for it. Do I think I make a ton of extra money with it? Probably not, but it absolutely makes me harder to play against me. One of these guys that only c-bets like 50 or something %. You don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that's easy to fold to. I'm already like easy-ish to fold to because I'm tighter than lots of players. So because I'm tighter, I want to try and take advantage of that image more and make sure I'm getting plenty of c-bets in. Wow, we've been going an hour already. We've made a grand total of $3. Could be a long grind. This could be a long grind. At $3 per hour, we're looking at... We're going to be going past February to get there, that's for sure. Well, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I hope it's not $3 per hour though. Although it's entirely possible it could be. I mean, when you think about it, perhaps it might be just $4 an hour plus whatever absolutely appalling rate back we get from AAA. $4 per hour, that's what, 250 hours? Yeah, we're going to be looking into February time, I think, aren't we? See about this pretty dry board with the ace 4 suited. Because of the backdoor flush draw and the ace, reasonable amount of equity. It unfortunately turned to complete brick, so we're abandoning the mission. Jack hits the river. As we saw earlier, it's just, I don't expect anyone to fold 2 pairs on this board. So if I'm going to value bet when I've got a straight because I don't expect 2 pairs to fold, I'm absolutely fucked if I'm going to bluff. And wow, he just checks back a straight. I think you can go for some value there when I don't bet the river, because I'm almost assuredly betting the river there when I have a king. And I think almost the entire player pool is. Oh, another hand with, I think, Colin. I don't think we stuck tight on him on the turn here. Don't think he's going to fold an ace. So we'll check back. Might not even be Colin. It'd be funny if it's not Colin. I just think it is, but then it isn't. No idea why it's taking him so long. Tanks rather than just puts like a shitty little block. Well, not a shitty little blocker, but a little block a bit out. I'm not going to bite. I don't mean there was a shit bet there. I mean, half pot's entirely reasonable there if he's got an ace. I mean, it's just like a shitty little bet for the pot size. It's like a small pot, it's a small bet. But not one I'm willing to call with just third pair or whatever it was. Club a pair with 7-5. We're going to see a turn card. Super unlikely we're going to see a river card. I would have called the Jack Queen on the button there against someone who might be a fish, but I'm not that fond of him, the cut-off. Wow, hour and 8 minutes. We're going to play around to our blinds. I'm going to continue the session, but I'm not going to be continuing the video. Thinking hours plenty long enough for the video. I did 1 to 2 hours of the night when I was kind of just getting carried away, but we'll stick to trying around 1 hour. All prepared, dry board, C-bet. Until, what about you? You're going to get 3-bet. If you 4-bet me, we're going to do some dancing. And he just folds. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to get out of line with anybody from one of my groups. I'm just going to play my normal poker against them, whatever that is. If I think they're wide and out of line, I'm going to make me 3-bets now and again or whatever. But I'm certainly not going to create some dynamic in my mind that may or may not be there. I have no idea. I've never played against Colin before, and if it is Colin, I've no idea if he's going to be what the guy's going to be wanting to have some fun and fuck around and make life interesting. I don't know if it's going to be the guy that's It's going to play pretty solidly against me. But I mean, we can't just fold ace king here, so in they go. At least if he wins, it's going to somebody who I know and like. And he just fold. Which obviously will take. I don't mind getting ace king all in pre-flop, but I'd much rather get the folds. Pick up the money without a fight. Wow. Click this out, next big blind, you fucking up. I'll be here all day. There we go, so that's the end of the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. There's certainly be plenty more to come. The more feedback I get, the more comments we get, the more it's going to motivate me to continue when we inevitably go through a spell where we have a downswing or a dry run or whatever. So please do get involved. Please do give me feedback. Share your stories with me. Share your experiences with me. The more popular the series is, the better chance I've got of finishing it. So I really am asking you guys to hopefully come along with me on this and help me complete the challenge. Not because I necessarily want $1,000. It'd be nice to have $1,000, but not necessarily because of that. Just because I really want to make it and have it captured for posterity on video. So yeah, the more you guys get involved, the more likely I am to see it through. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll be back again very soon with another video, but we'll leave it there for now. Good night.